This video is brought to you by Power Performance Products, where you can get $10 off your purchase of Body Storm and Body Effects.
A great opportunity come along, even if it is a long shot opportunity, and that's the story of my life. I'm kind of like, don't have the best luck. I'm kind of like the bad luck kid. Every once in a while, a great opportunity comes along, and I take advantage of it. You know, I think I did that with season 1, and this is the biggest opportunity to ever come my way. I mean, it kind of tops season 1, I'd say.
Now, with this fight, obviously you're 13-1 underdog. What do you think your chances are going in there and pulling off the biggest upset in UFC history?
Well, I mean, the odds are stacked against me, and no one's given me a chance, and I really like it that way. You know, it's no pressure on me, and I just know what I could do. I'm not like the type who's always fixed on outcome. You know, I'm more the type that just, you know, ask God to give me the strength to do my absolute best in there. And I mean, look at every fight I've ever had. I always have, you know. I've been hit with like lots of big shots, but you know, I get up and I keep coming, and that's what I'm going to need to do in this fight.
You've said this is your Rocky story. If it is your Rocky story, is it more about going the distance, or is it more about getting the finish?
No, once again, it's like I'm not too fixed on the outcome so much. I'm just going to give them hell and give them everything I got in there and do my absolute best, and you know, we'll see. Like that could lead to a victory, you know.
If you last longer than Forrest, would that make you happy?
No, I got to do good in there. I got to give him a run. I got to fight him. I got to do a lot better than that.
The finals of the season 1, Stephan, basically you were fighting to start your career. Do you look at this fight as like a defining moment of Stephan Bonnar in the UFC?
Just, yeah, a defining moment of my whole life. Everything I've gone through, all the martial arts I've done, all the training and the MMA fights and boxing matches and wrestling and grappling. Like, yeah, this is like the culmination of it all. Really, I think it's all meant to be. It's perfect. It really is. It feels like all the stars are aligning, just like it did on that, you know, magical night for the UFC back when I fought Forrest the first time. And I feel like I could shock the world.
Speaking about stars aligning themselves, you know, in your personal life, your stars are definitely aligned in a way that it might come around probably the biggest night of your career. How are you managing that? How are you balancing the big event coming up in your personal life and now, you know, the big fight?
Yeah, he's talking about me. I got a baby boy coming. It's due like 2 weeks after the fight, and really, it's all part of the story. It's all part of it. You know, it's everything's kind of coming together the way it should. And yeah, the baby being born and getting this fight, getting this opportunity, especially from where I just was. You know, I was just kind of retired and moving on with my life, and then, you know, out of nowhere, the opportunity like this comes along, and it's yeah, like that, everything completely changed, and it's just been full steam ahead, getting ready for this night.
Did you take the fight right away when you got the phone call, or was there a thought process?
No, I mean, there was no hesitation. I didn't think I honestly didn't think, you know, my manager would be able to pull it off, because, you know, he hit me up with a text like, "What about fighting Anderson?" I said, "Yeah, that's like, come on, you can't get a bigger name than Anderson Silva, you know." Of course I'd love that fight, but, you know, good luck trying to talk Dana into that one. I mean, I couldn't get him to, you know, give me and Forrest a tough coaching job, you know, like, and now Anderson Silva, yeah, come on. And lo and behold, man, that's Wayne Harriman, my manager, so give him some props. His nickname's Copperfield, because I don't know how the hell he pulled that off.
Can you talk about that conversation you had with Dana? And you said that you weren't ever bitter about it, but you know, I think it'd be tough, wouldn't it, if for you to not be bitter about it, just because of all that you've done with the UFC, and then they wouldn't give you a big fight, they wouldn't give you Rampage, they wouldn't give you the coaching jobs. What was that conversation like with Dana?
I mean, there were a couple of them, but really it was, we just, yeah, it's nothing to be bitter out. I'm just really not like that anyway. And then we don't see eye to eye on this. The way he thinks about, you know, what a fighter's should be after and what I think are different. We just don't see eye to eye on that. He's all about, you know, the guys who are hungry and chasing that title and want the title. And I mean, honestly, I never really cared about that title. I didn't, you know, I just fought because it was like, it was fun and it was like a challenge, and just to get in there with someone and give it your all and take them through hell, it's a great feeling. And yeah, I was never really all fixed on the title, and I know you hear Chael say that, like, yeah, if I never win the title, then my career's a failure and all that. I don't know, I never felt like that, but he wants guys coaching tough that are hungry for that title, that are going after it. I mean, I guess I should have lied to him and said I was, you know, but I was just being honest, and that's how I felt. And his theory is, like, if you're not hungry for that title, like, what are you doing just hanging around the division? If you're not chasing the title, you should hang it up and retire. I'm like, all right, well, if you're not going to give me the tough coaching gig, and you know, then I'm not hungry for the title, then yeah, I might just well hang it up. And that's kind of where I was mentally.
Are you where you want to be for this fight? I mean, it's probably tough with short notice. You almost don't set a goal, huh? You just say, I'm going to get myself as prepared as possible in this short amount of time. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. I mean, you know, I had like just over 3 weeks you know, you're done with your training about a week out. I leave for Brazil on Sunday, and all your hard stuff's already put in there. So yeah, I had like 3 weeks and 2 days to prepare for this fight, but I don't know. We'll see if that's enough time. I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. Like, and when I get in there, you know, I'm a pressure fighter, and you know, I don't stall. You know, I don't get stood up. I don't. You know, I fight. I go after it, and I think I'll be ready to fight my kind of fight when it comes that night.
When you're picturing the fight in your head, like what's the most difficult thing to prepare for with Anderson? What's like, you know, you're trying to prepare for this, and it's just tough to you know, lock it down. What's like the most difficult thing to prepare for, especially in that short amount of time?
I mean, it's just what I'm working on. Just really getting in the kind of shape where you could fight a action-packed, high-paced fight, and really, I mean, what's difficult about fighting Anderson is he's so good, you know, and he's slick and he's good and moves his head so well and elusive, hard to hit, and good submissions and tricky. And he mixes it up well. So I mean, there's a lot of challenges in fighting him. But like, yeah, the biggest challenge in this short of time is just getting myself in shape to fight.
Does it give you any confidence that you're part of this Muay Thai gym and you're with these Muay Thai guys every day? It's kind of, they mimic Anderson Silva a little bit, so you're used to seeing it a lot?
Now, yeah, I have my Anderson Silva. He's not here today. So, no, but I got the guy that. I got probably the best training partner that I could ask for to prepare for Anderson when I do my stand-up sparring. Chidi.
Do you feel like you're one of the most well-rounded mixed martial artists that Anderson has been in the cage with?
I don't know. I mean, he's fought a ton of guys and great fighters. I just feel I'm durable and tough and gritty, and you know, I'm not going to lay down when I get hit. And I'm going to fight my ass off. That's all I could say, really.
You've never been knocked out. Well, you've had the 2 doctor stoppages, and Anderson.
I got thin white skin. I cut easily, and that one was a headbutt. Damn it.
And you've never been submitted. So, is it important to you at all to keep that intact against Anderson in this fight?
To me, getting knocked out or submitted is death. You know, to me, I'm locked in a cage with Anderson. There's no referee. So yeah, I'm going to be trying my hardest not to die. You know, tapping out, that's death to me. You know, there's no one in there to save you. So same with getting knocked out. So yeah, I mean, that's the way I think of it. And it's probably why I haven't been legitimately stopped.
Was there any talk on whether it would be a 5-round fight at all, or was it just right off the bat 3 rounds?
No. Because I was like, hell yeah, I'd take the fight. And then it came to where he's like, okay, you're going to get it. And I'm like, I don't believe it till I talk to Dana. And then talk to Dana and it's on. And I'm like, oh, I forgot to ask him how many rounds it was. Because, you know, it's really hard to get in shape for a 3-rounder in 3 weeks, let alone a 5-rounder. But I guess Dana, everyone else knew that too. Anderson taking it on short notice. And, yeah, it's just not enough time to get ready for a 5-rounder. It'd be one thing if we were both training for other fights and in the midst of camp. And then it came, but we weren't. Neither of us had a fight scheduled. So, yeah, it only makes sense it'd be a 3-rounder.
I found something interesting about this fight, that it's on October 13th. You're 13-1 underdog. You have 13 UFC fights, and he has 13 finishes, Anderson. Do you find anything superstitious at all about the number 13 surrounding this fight?
There's a lot of weird superstitions going on. There's like 5 Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays in October. That happens once every 839 years. It's like I fought Machida November 13th, 2003, so like 9 years and 1 month.
Which is 13 months.
13 months.
Both of your names also have 13 characters.
13. Look at that. No, yeah, I think, yeah. That's what I said earlier. It's like a lot of strange shit's happening. Kid coming and the stars aligning, the 13 and the 5 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. They're just in this, getting called out of retirement to fight the pound for pound best fighter in the world. You know, just in his backyard and being such an underdog. It's all so perfect. Yeah, I really believe it's all part of the plan.
So you consider this a retirement fight? I mean, will this likely be your last fight?
Oh, I don't know. I can't answer that right now. Yeah, all I do know is I beat Anderson Silva. That's quite a dilemma, you know. It'd be a perfect way to hang it up, but then again, I'm sure I'd get offered some big fights after that, so I'd really be looking forward to have that headache.
How come you don't think a title ever meant much to you? Because most guys, it means everything, so how come it never meant much to you?
I don't know. I never thought, like I'm doing this to be champion. I want to be the best. I don't know. There's so many guys that are really close to the top, and you know, like me, I fought a lot of guys, you know, right before they became champions, or you know, well, it's like I feel like I've been in there with championship caliber guys in non-title fights, and I don't think it's such a big difference. Yeah. So I don't know. It just never. And I don't know, it never really meant anything. I never really cared. To me, it's just about like getting a fight, and like it doesn't matter if I'm the undercard or main event. I'm gonna go in there and try to steal the show. And I feel like, you know, I've done that before with other big fights on the card, and now I'm the main event and fighting a guy of this caliber like this. This isn't for a belt, you know, but I'm fighting a champion. No one could argue that. And if I beat him, I don't get a belt, but man, I got that. I beat Anderson Silva. I didn't get a belt out of it. Do you think that takes any of it away? Hell no.
So along those lines, would it have been difficult for your last fight to be that conservative approach, that you were doing it because you just wanted to get that W? That have been a tough fight to hang it up on just because you didn't fight that way?
No, I won. I fought a perfect fight. I didn't take any damage. I pitched a complete shutout. And it wasn't so much I was fighting conservatively as you go out there. We were both throwing. I know I rocked him with the left. I was throwing knees and elbows, and then I found a hole. And when you're fighting someone, you find weaknesses. You see that in boxing matches a lot. The guy, he lands a certain punch, and later he goes back to that. Then he knocks him out with that. Why? He found that hole. He found that opening. And it's the same way in fighting. Yeah, that's what you're looking for in there. You find something that works, and you're going to go back to it. And you know, that's what I did, and it just felt great. Like everything went perfectly according to game plan. I didn't have to rely on my heart, my chin, and that was a good feeling.
Have you seen anything watching Anderson? I mean, obviously you'll know better stepping in the cage with him, but anything like that where you feel like you could exploit him, or any weaknesses in the game?
Yeah, but I'm not going to say anything until after the fight. But yeah, I mean, everyone's got holes and openings. You know, not a lot.
Obviously, everybody points to the first Sonnen fight as somebody who really was able to exploit Anderson's weaknesses. Is that something you look at, or it's not really your style? And you don't want to?
Yeah, of course. I watch his fights, and I'd be an idiot not to talk to Chael and pick his brain and get tips and advice from him. But yeah, so of course I'm doing that. I'm not gonna say what I found,
right.
But yes, yeah, I'm searching.
Stephan, you talked about possibly getting bigger fights after this, but with what you've done with that fight with Forrest, and as you mentioned, beating Anderson Silva, if that does happen, how do you top that in your mind? How does it get bigger than that?
It's really, yeah, that's the thing, that's quite a dilemma. It's really no topping beating Anderson Silva. I mean, very hard to. I don't even think, would Jones top that? I don't know, yeah, quite a dilemma. But it'd be like a great note to hang it up on, but then it'd be hard to turn down those big money fights I get offered, even if they wouldn't top Anderson Silva victory. Still, it'd be pretty lucrative, and that'd be the hard thing to pass up.
I've seen that you've been in Florida and also Maryland in the duration from the time. It was on Twitter. You said you were doing something with lobster or something about Treasure Coast, Florida. I was wondering if any of it had to do with training and which camps maybe you were working at, or
no. I was there before I got wind of the Anderson fight. Like I said, all the stars aligned, everything happened, all these crazy superstitions.
The 13, superstitions.
But yeah, everything, because I've been letting myself go. I was pretty much retired in my head. I couldn't get the big fights I wanted, and I hadn't been in the gym in months, right? Months. And I'd come in here, say hi to everyone. Whoa, where you been? Why aren't you training anymore? I'm done, hanging it up. Remember, right before I left for Tampa. Well, that's back to the story. That's what I'm getting at. I got called by Josh Rafferty from season 1, who's friends with Batista. He manages his gym down there, and he said, Batista's doing an MMA fight. We want some big guys to come help him get ready. Guys like you who help teach them and not just like hurt them and help build them, and you're big and strong, could work with them too. Looking for guys, and I'm like, oh, that's a perfect excuse. I need to get off my ass and at least get in the gym a little bit. And then I came here, and remember Dewey Cooper getting ready for his K1 fight. He's like, you giving me some sparring today? I'm like, sparring, man, I'm retired. I'm just doing this for my general health. And then, so I at least got off my ass, got in a little bit good of shape so I could go down to Tampa and give Dave some work and be a good training partner for him. And it was at the end of the trip I got the call to fight Anderson. And and I did the lobster fishing and all that. It was a lot of fun. But then I came back, and I see Dewey again, and he goes, man, you just told me you were retired. Now I hear you're fighting Anderson Silva. What the hell? Are you messing with me? I'm like, no, man. It was. I got called out of retirement to fight Anderson. But just think everything happened the way it did, me getting off my ass and getting in shape and going a couple weeks down there, then getting the call, and then having a good 3 hard weeks here to finish.
This is a 50-year-old guy that came out of the crowd and won that fight that you're giving props 53. To give you some motivation?
Well, I love a guy, he came there to watch. I was there when he came in too, and they're like, Kerry Shaw, that was his show, so I came and I did like some ringside announcing and refereeing as a guest, and anyways, the guy's coming to watch, and Kerry's like, hey man, we had a guy pull out, would you mind stepping up and fighting? And he goes, hold on. Hey, honey, could you bring my cup and mouthpiece over to the fights? Just like that. And he got in there and fought. So, yeah, definitely. I was impressed. That guy's my hero.
What have you learned about yourself from getting on that win streak and then going to retirement, now coming back throughout this whole ordeal, trying to get the tough spot and now getting the shot with Anderson? What have you learned about yourself?
I guess persistence pays off. And I guess having a manager like Wayne that could pull off that magic helps too. That's a hard question. What did I learn about myself from hanging it up and then getting called out of retirement to fight Anderson on short notice in his backyard? That either I'm really desperate for attention or I got big balls, one of the two.
The shirt says it all.
Right? They didn't like my idea. It was actually we upset. But maybe after the fight.
Could be a Punch Buddies version of that.
This?
Yeah, maybe.
Well, you need
Silva.
You need a Punch Buddy. We actually made a Anderson. We didn't print it, but we have the artwork done. So, but we have a beautiful. Where is that? The piece of art I made of Anderson Silva. Me and this guy here. So you got it hanging up? Oh, you check it out on the way out. It's a beautiful piece of art. So. Made it a couple years back when he's champion. He's still champion because it says campeão, that's champion in Portuguese, coming down the side. Beautiful piece of art. And you know who has the original? His manager, Ed Soares.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
So he bought the original Anderson and the original Machida. They're hanging up in his basement. Yeah.
Nice. Stephan, now that you've taken this fight and it's coming close, you got the nervous energy, the excitement for it, could you have been content staying retired?
I don't know. I was just starting to get used to it. I guess it's like you need something to do, you know, and yeah, I don't know. Was that a good way to go out? I think so. I always wanted to go out on a win, so I don't know. I could have been content, but it might have taken a while.
And just for fun, is it true that you really want to name your son Griffin Bonnar? Is that name really in the works?
Yeah, and it's more about, like, it's a moment in history, you know? It's like the Griffin Bonnar era, like measuring MMA, like that's kind of like the BCAD line of MMA, you know? That's when the big change happened. So it's not so much about, oh, I'm naming after Forrest. No, I'm naming after history, you know? And like our piece art we make, the American Classic, it's Griffin Bonnar, you know? And the t-shirt Roots of Fight make, they use the same thing, American Classic, Griffin Bonnar. And so the Griffin Bonnar, was it before the Griffin Bonnar fight? And it's a cool, cute name, and I'm a huge Family Guy fan. And it's an Irish name, I'm Irish, and Griffin's like a mythical creature as well. It's like half eagle and half lion. It's pretty badass, and I think it's a cute name. Like for a kid, little Griff, say Griffster, little Griff. Yeah.
The middle name be a hyphen then, or a dash?
A what?
Like a dash or a hyphen, the middle name?
I didn't say the middle name yet.
I'm sorry. No, this is a joke. I'm sorry.
What's your idea for the middle name?
No, it'd be like a dash, like Griffin Bonnar.
The Bonnar's the last name. Griffin's the first.
It's a middle name.
What's the middle name?
Never mind. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Who's saying the
Ruined
middle
all
name?
I think
the
you meant like a fight,
Griffin
like
and
Griffin
Dash
Dash
Bonnar.
Bonnar.
Oh,
Yeah.
Middle
the
name is
dash
Dash.
is the middle name.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, get it now.
Sorry to ruin the momentum, everybody.
The answer's no.
That dash is a middle name.
It's out.
Cool.
Good guess? Crash.
You know, if you put $100 on me, you could win $500,000.
Are you gonna put a bet on yourself, or can you? I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little superstitious, so I kind of see it as like I jinx myself if I did. But my best buddy over here sure is.
Yup.
Nice.
Yeah,
Words in the house.
very few are, but all right.
Good man.
Be different. Bet on Bonnar.
Does that make it any harder to be confident in you when you're like, these Vegas guys, they usually get the line right on an NFL game. You know, now they got me 13-1. Does it make
I
it
wish
any,
I were
does it make it
100 to
difficult
1.
at all?
Yeah, I wish it was even bigger. Like, no, I eat that up. That feels good to me. I love that. I retweet the ones who you're gonna get killed. You don't stand a chance. You're garbage, Bonnar. Yeah, retweet. Aha! Like, yes, that's all the more sweeter when you know I go out there and do what I'm gonna do.
Do you think a little too much of this fight been made up about you being an underdog? It seems to be the big thing surrounding you, is just focusing on that instead of your contributions as a fighter to the UFC and what Anderson has done. It seems like that's really been the focus.
I think the UFC is trying to be honest about selling this fight, not like, you know, they don't want to ignore the fact that I'm such a historical underdog for a main event. So why try to brush it under the carpet and make it sound like I'm not an underdog? And it's like, yeah, I don't mind it though. I really, really like it. I enjoy it. You know, it sucks being favored and everyone expects you to win. You have all these high expectations and you're going to let everyone else down. And like, you know, people aren't expecting much out of me, and it's like no stress, no pressure. It's really a good place to be mentally.
It's kind of the same storyline Belfort Jones, and you know he almost was able to get the victory in the first round. Did that provide any kind of a mental image for you, or?
It just goes to show you, you know, you just need a little opening, a little hole, a little window, a little weakness. That's all you need to do in MMA. That's why I love the sport too. It's no other sports except like boxing. That could one team be down like 50 points in the fourth quarter, everyone walks out of the stadium, they don't sit and watch that. No, in fighting, you always got a chance until that final bell rings. And Yeah, and Vitor did show that she almost pulled off a pretty big upset. What was he, like a 6-1 or something?
Mm-hmm.
It opened kind of like you.
Yeah.
It opened
You think
over
it's
10 to 1, I think.
Yeah.
So,
Spencer pulled it off.
yeah, there you go. And he gave me a call after he heard about the fight too. Said, "It doesn't. Let me tell you something, brother. It doesn't suck shot in the world." Good luck.
Have you talked to any other American fighters about fighting in Brazil, what it's like, and if there's any kind of mentally a way to prepare for that?
I mean, I fought Machida there, but it wasn't like the same thing. We were in the middle of the jungle.
Right.
But yeah, I didn't talk to Forrest about it. But I mean, just about fighting Anderson more, not so much Brazil. Yeah, it's sea level, right? And no one else is allowed in the cage with me and Anderson, right? I don't see any problems.
You feel like pressure free? Because you said there's no pressure because there's no expectations, but I'm sure you have expectations on yourself, and this is like a fight that you came out of retirement for. So do you feel like that 13-1 underdog who knows he's going to go on and fight tomorrow anyway, or this could be potentially your last fight if you lose or even if you win? So you do feel pressure free, or does some of that of the moment kind of weigh on you pressure-wise?
Yeah, I don't know. Regardless, I don't know if I win or if I lose or whatnot, what I'm going to do after the fight. It's just like I'm not trying to think beyond it. But yeah, I feel, gosh, about 1/10 of the pressures I did in my last fight. And I was underdog in that fight, you know. But I just felt like all this is right, and I have to win. Then I could campaign for the bigger fights or the tough coaching gig and all that, and it was a lot of pressure. Like, didn't want to make any mistakes. I wanted to fight the perfect fight, and yeah, I fought a pretty good fight and won hands down. But and that allowed me to at least ask for those things that I wanted, and that's why I needed to win that fight so bad, and that created a lot of pressure. Yes, I have none of that virtually in this fight.